Hello, Marilyn Devonish here, and I've been thinking about the phase 2 of the quantum entanglement remote experiment, the manifestation piece, and the outcomes, goals, intentions, etc. Now, when I'm working with a client, they can set anything they want, and we then do the work around that in terms of belief, mindset, interim steps. There's the coaching that goes before, during, and after that as well, to ensure that we then maintain the momentum. Now, with this one, of course, we don't have any of that peripheral stuff going on. So as I was reading through the statements, which are brilliant, I was then thinking, I think we maybe put a few things beforehand just to help that process along. So one of them is to first of all do a rating in terms of what you have said you want to achieve, be it the work, the career, the relationship, the ideal home, and I mean ideal house, not ideal home show, so ideal house, etc., money, whatever it might be, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 equals no hope, you really don't believe it, it just feels like a pipe dream, and when you really think about it, you're just saying it because, yeah, it sounds great, you'd love it, but you don't believe it. And number 10 equals, it's a done deal, it is just a case of when, and enjoying the journey and the unfolding. So go back and look at the statement you have written, the thing that you sent to me, and just ask yourself intuitively, how would you rate that statement on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of your level of belief? So that's the first thing, number 1. Number 2, what I'd also like you to do is look at the statement, which is your end goal, end result, ideal result, and then ask yourself, if we dial it all the way back to now, what is the first thing that would happen or need to happen for you to know the journey, the pathway to achieving what it is you want to have achieved has now started, it's game on. So I watched a bit of the Olympics, for example, and of course you're always under starters orders, and there's a where everybody gets himself into position and firing pistol goes off and they're off. So what's that first and we're off moment for you? What's the first thing that would happen to let you know that this has now started, the ball is now rolling? You may not have the how or the what or the when, however, you know, like, yes, this is my first sign. So yeah, that's a good way to say it. What's your first sign? And in practical terms, what would your first step be? So look at what you've written, pause this recording and just sit and write out. And I like pen and paper. There's something that happens between the connection between the hand and the brain, but of course you can type it. But write out, what's the first step for you? What's that starting point? What I often call the green shoot. And sometimes it even comes before the green shoot, because when you think about that, something is happening beneath the surface where the roots are starting to grow downwards. You actually have no awareness of that. You can't actually feel it, well, you can't see it, but you might be able to sort of feel that something energetically is happening. So with regards to this first step, I'm going to suggest that you have 2 portions to that. It kind of splits in a way. Side 1 is a practical thing, could be something external. I don't know, you might start doing some research into the particular thing, or you might do some learning, take a course, take a step, apply for something, open something, read an email, whatever it might be. The second half of that, if you think of it like a coin, is also make a note of how you will be feeling internally and what will be different for you to know that, yeah, it's game on. We're on, it's on, we're rolling. And think about it in terms of what will you see going on around you, and what will you see as you look at yourself. It might be in terms of your posture, the way you move, the way you dress, all of those things. What will you see for you to know this is on? What will you hear? and it might be what you hear going on externally around you, but also what do you hear when you speak to yourself? What sort of things are you saying to yourself internally? And so if you've got, let's say, if you had limiting beliefs going, oh, don't be so stupid, well, that will never work. Oh, look what you've done now. The flip side of what you may hear when you know things have changed and transformed and you're on the pathway to achieving this, it might be like, yes, wow, can't wait, exciting, oh my gosh, did you see that? Wow, this thing just happened. So notice what your self-talk will be like. So what will you be thinking? What will your thoughts be like when they are in alignment with what it is you want to achieve? And also really hone into how will you be feeling? And that may be feeling in terms of your mindset, how you feel in your physical body. And if you're someone who works with auras and your energy field, what's your aura and what is your energy field like? So what will you see, both internally and externally? What will you hear? What will you be thinking? What will you be feeling? And what is the deep inner knowing? So for example, when I was terrified of public speaking, couldn't think of anything worse. I'd be like, oh my God, I hope they don't pick on me to make a contribution at the meeting. And then so my heart is racing, my throat and my tongue. I actually started to, as I recall the story, my tongue's got a bit dry. So my heart is racing, my tongue goes dry, and I was like, oh my God, feeling in the pit of my stomach, even feeling slightly disorientated. So now it's kind of more challenging to string the words together. After, because my big goal was to be able to speak to small groups of people. So after sorting that out and achieving that goal, and of course it's gone on way beyond that since then, now the thought of when somebody says, oh, you ready? Like, are you ready to go on stage? Are you ready to go live? In my head, and sometimes I say it out loud, I'm like, I was born ready. Because internally, the inner knowing is like, yep, bring it on. Let's go. And that's completely different to, oh my God, I hope they don't call on me in the meeting. So notice, what is that inner knowing? And for me, it's a feeling like when I'm designing a workshop, for example, the way I know I'm done in terms of the slides, the preparation, and some of you will know, I'll be running a workshop on the Saturday, and on the Friday afternoon, I'm like, right, I better start the slides. Because, oh no, that's a whole different conversation in terms of why that's the case. But anyway, but the thing that inside, I just know I get a feeling in my solar plexus when I'm looking at the slides and going through them. I just like, I'm done. It's it. I'm good. I'm done. It's done. Don't need to do any more. And when I get that feeling, I know it's like, I'm cool. We're good. This is good. So what's that inner knowing for you to know that the ball is rolling, the game is afoot, and you really have a sense of certainty about that long term, even though you don't know the how and all the rest of it and all little bits and pieces. You may not see the whole journey because I'm sure you figured out by now that life is an unfolding. But now in this now moment, right now, in the moment that you are listening to this recording, you know, yes, I can do this. It's on. And you have clarity about that first step in terms of how you're going to be feeling, thinking internally, and then the practical manifestation of that. What is the first thing you will do to know that it's game on? So just thought I would share that little ditty. Any questions, any queries, ping me an email. Marilyn@transformationstm.com. I will spell that as well. Marilyn @trance, TRANCE, F for Freddy, FORMATIONS, TM as in trademark.com. So Marilyn@transformationstm.com. If you've got any questions and queries, and of course that's the website as well. I'm sure those of you listening to this, if you're the intended audience, you know that already. Transformationstm.com. There is a contact page on there as well. So yes, let me know. Hope that all makes sense. And of course, send me that first step and that green shoots statement, because that is going to go into the mix for the manifestation process as well, so that we're top and tailing it, given that I'm not going to be there, you know, as part of that process, doing the coaching, the therapy, the interventions, the support, the cheerleading, the, you know, reframing, all the rest of it. So I think it'll be a good idea to top and tail this one. Great. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, if I've actually put this on a video as well. And happy manifesting to us all. Catch you later. Oh, P.S. One more thing I've just thought of. Well, I'm not going to say for how long. I'm going to say minimum the next 28 days. When you do the thing about how you will feel when you know the ball is rolling, it's game on, and also jump into the future as well. And how will you feel when you have achieved it? And every single day for the next 28 days, just spend 60 to 90 seconds, so a minute and a half, just basking in those feelings. See what you saw, hear what you're hearing, feel what you're feeling, that inner knowing when you have achieved your outcome and you know the ball is rolling, and just spend a minute and a half basking in those feelings. And it could be you do it just before you get out of bed. You can do it just before you go to sleep. You can do it while you're in the shower or in the bath, or if you're someone who commutes and you're sitting on the bus or the train or the metro, whatever it might be. I wouldn't say in your car necessarily, you want your focus on driving on the road. You know, when you have a minute or so, you could be queuing in a store to buy your lunch or your dinner, and just fill yourself up with all of those wonderful emotions and the joy and the happiness, the sense of achievement, having done it now. So that'll be my final little tip to get the ball rolling with this manifestation protocol for the quantum entanglement remote experiment phase 2. And PPS, a quick reminder of what these manifestation statements are for. So this is for the manifestation protocol, phase 2 of the quantum entanglement remote experiment. And we're going to be using the Radionics plate for this one. So previously we used the scalar energy, the pure scalar, the molecular scalar, the harmonic frequencies. We also use the Rife frequencies, all of the Einstein, Tesla stuff. And this time we're using the Radionics plate, and that's where we have the input and the output. So your manifestation protocol statement goes on one side, and then we're using the vibe and energy of that to imprint it into something else. So in this case, we are going to be using the holographic stickers and also the crystals that I've purchased. Now the crystals have arrived. I actually haven't opened them yet, so I don't know what they look like. I was going to do an unboxing video, but don't watch that video if you don't want to see what they look like, because you might want it to be a surprise when they arrive in the post. So what I think I'll most likely do is I'm going to use the original manifestation statement that you've sent to me. Either you've posted it or you've emailed it. What I also will probably do is, if you send me the green shoots version as well, those first steps, I will add that to the Radionics plate so that we imprint both of those over. Now, from an NLP anchoring point of view, what I think would be a really good idea, when you do that process that I've suggested for 60 to 90 seconds, where you're thinking about the energy, the vibe, being in and basking in the energy of what will you be, do, have, and see, hear, and feel, and know when you've achieved your goal and outcome, you might want to hold the crystal when you do that as well, because that's going to have all of that energy imprinted into it, or wherever you've placed the holographic sticker, have that to hand. I think that could be a nice way to really ramp it up as well and focus the mind for that 60 to 90 seconds. So the way that it works with the Radionics plate, so if you recall from the video when we did the results, the quantum entanglement remote experiment results webinar, and I was talking about what I did with the the oregano oil, where I put the oregano oil on one side, that's what I wanted to imprint from, and then I put a glass of water on the other side, and I left it just for 20 minutes, and then I swigged the glass of water, really not expecting anything to happen, and then a couple of seconds later my lips start tingling. because the frequency of the oregano oil had transferred over to the water. So we're putting what you want on one side. We then run the frequencies, and that's the one that I set the dials using the dowsing. So run the frequencies through that, and what you want gets imprinted, in this case, into the holographic sticker and into the crystal that I will then send to you. So I think that could be another way to add a bit more nuance to it, further focus the mind, and really get into the energetic vibe and frequency of what it is you actually want to create. All right, that's really it now. No more additional thoughts for this one. So I shall leave it there. Marilyn Devonish, the NeuroSuccess coach and a rapid transformation specialist from transformationstm.com, over and out.